Before you walk off the cruise ship for the last time on disembarkation day, stop. There are a few things that you should do that will save you time, money, and help you to have a better travel day, even if you have an early flight. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, even if you have watched videos about disembarkation day before, even if you are a frequent cruiser or if you are a new cruiser, this video is full of tips and tricks and actual things that you will want to do that will make your disembarkation day go better. And the truth is, I have a few things in here that even the cruise lines may not want you to know. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention two things. First, I've got a list of about 20 different items in this video. However, I'd love for you to weigh in as well at any of your additional tips or experiences down in the comments. It will be a great resource for others. And secondly, if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Number one, disembarkation day doesn't start on disembarkation day. It actually starts the day before. And I have actually started to do a little bit of disembarkation day prep the day before that. Something that we have noticed is on some of our itineraries, our last day of the actual cruise is a port day. So I don't want that day to be stressful for me. I don't want to have to pack up on that day. So now what I've started to do is on a 7-day cruise, we're actually starting to pack up on day 6. And even along the way on our cruise, if we have already worn some of our clothing and we know we're not going to wear it again, we actually pack that away. And this way, when it does come time to pack up, probably by the time we get to the end of our cruise, half of the packing is already done. All right, let's talk about flights. Now, the advice that I have always given is don't book any early flights. But the reality is I have found that over the last year, there are less flights available than before. And I've actually booked a couple of flights a little bit earlier than I'm truly very comfortable with. But otherwise, it meant waiting an entire day to go home. So I've actually done this. Now, what I do is when it comes to my flights, I book a flex fare. So I know if I do miss the flight, I don't want to, but at least I will be able to book something else. The other thing that you'll want to do, though, is consider getting pre-check or Nexus to make actually getting to the airport, going through customs and security faster. And I have a free travel hack for you. Even if you don't have TSA pre-check, what you can do is download the MPC app. This is actually available at a lot of North American airports, including Miami, Fort Lauderdale, LAX, even Montreal, and this can actually expedite the line and it doesn't cost a thing. And don't forget to do your online check-in within the 24 hours before your flight. Now you might be wondering, should you do self-disembarkation where you actually take your own luggage off the cruise ship in the morning? Or should you do traditional disembarkation where you use the luggage tags from the cruise line and they get it off for you? Well, I actually have an opinion on this because we've tried both over the last year. And I will share that a little bit later on in the video. But one thing you should think about is how are you going to get to the airport after your cruise? So you do have a couple of options. And one of them is, I think, surprisingly good in a certain circumstance. So consider actually using the cruise line transfers. Now, they can be a little bit more expensive than taking an Uber if you are more than 2 people. However, if you are 1 person or 2 people, you might find that this is not only more practical because you do have a time that you're going to get off the cruise ship, you're going to put your luggage in, it's going to drop you off right at the airport. You're also going to be usually one of the first people off the cruise ship. We found this to be very handy, in particular when we were in Rome and we had over an hour drive to the airport. Now, the other option is taking an Uber or a taxi or Lyft. And something that I would watch is that if you are getting off the cruise ship when most people are getting off, it can actually be a really long line for an Uber. So there is something that you need to watch for, and that is actually people outside of the terminal that they'll actually walk over to the terminal. You'll see them standing and they'll have their phone up and they might say Uber, Uber, and they'll point to their phone where it says Uber, these are not real Uber drivers. And this is something that you really do want to watch for. So you can pre-arrange your transportation, maybe even get a limo service if you want, or get off the cruise ship earlier or even a little bit later to avoid those crowds. And while we're talking about potential scams and watchouts, there's another risk that travelers often overlook, but this one is online. Scammers can easily get your personal information from data brokers, and a phishing or travel scam is the last thing that you want ruining your trip. Now that's where today's sponsor Incogni comes in. Anytime that you've booked a cruise, a flight, or even searched for travel deals, your personal data is already being bought and sold by hundreds of data brokers that you probably have never even heard of. Your name, your email, your phone number, or even your travel patterns are all being used without your permission. Incogni automatically contacts those data broker sites and requests that your personal information be removed. Now, I started to use this about a year ago, and every single month, I get a report showing which data brokers have deleted my data. Now, signing up takes less than 5 minutes. You create an account, you authorize Incogni to act on your behalf, and they handle the rest automatically. Now, signing up for an annual plan works best because they keep removing your data proactively each and every month, even as new data broker sites emerge. Now, I have an awesome 60% off discount code on the annual plan with Incogni, so I'll leave my exclusive link down below in the description below, as well as a pinned comment. Now, what if you have a flight later in the day? What do you do so that you do not waste your time? Now, we actually tried something new over the last year or so when we had a 6 p.m. flight in Miami, and it was a beautiful day. I did not want to waste it. So what we did is we booked a day hotel. Now, we actually booked this through Resort Pass. There may be other companies that do this as well. But the really neat thing was you could either book the actual room, which still gave you access to all of the hotel facilities. And honestly, next time I might even book the cheaper option, which is actually just getting access to the pool and the facilities, because in the end, we never use the hotel room at all. Now, I have a few more tips or hacks, but I did want to share a mistake that a lot of people make, and that is not checking their invoice or their bill before they leave the cruise, or checking it the morning of disembarkation. If there is a mistake, if you have towels, for instance, that you returned, but the cruise line has charged you for, by the way, there are some cruise lines, as an example, Royal Caribbean, that you actually have to check back in your pool towels. And if you don't, they're going to charge you $25 per pool towel. Check out your breakfast options. Now, every cruise line is a little bit different. So even for us, we adjust our disembarkation morning routine based in part on this. Some cruise lines actually have their main dining room open where they have a pretty nice breakfast. And what we do is we make sure we get out of our cabin. Usually it's by 8 a.m. And then we bring our carry-on luggage down to the main dining room. We just park that there. Make sure that you do keep any valuables in your personal bag, but it's actually a nice way to end the cruise. And they do serve a little bit more quickly, but you are going to be served, and it is much less hectic than the buffet. Now, something else to look for is, does your cruise line have a disembarkation day room service menu? Now, in our experience, many of them stop their room service breakfast the last day of the cruise, but some actually do have it. We were recently on Oceania, and we actually had a very early flight, earlier than I was truthfully comfortable with. We did make it, so I will share how we did that after. But what we did is we actually ordered room service breakfast for, I believe it was 6 a.m. And we just had a quick bite, but it made it so much easier and better to leave the ship having a little bit of coffee, a Danish, and some fruit. Do not count on having your specialty coffee or your Starbucks on disembarkation morning. This actually surprised us a few years ago when we were on Norwegian Cruise Line and our beverage package stopped working by disembarkation morning. And this also does depend on the cruise line, so do a little bit of research. But I do have a hack that I actually just heard about. It was on TikTok. Somebody shared that what they do is the night before the cruise, they go over to Starbucks and they go get an iced latte or an iced coffee, but they ask the barista to not put the ice in. Then what they do is they put that into their little mini fridge in their cabin. Then when they wake up the next morning, they have their cold, almost iced latte ready for them. Now, the last evening of the cruise, there are a few things that you absolutely want to do. Make a future cruise deposit. If you want to take another cruise on this line, this is a way that you can get some extra onboard credit or save some money. If you bought any duty-free items like liquor, you will need to pick those up the last night of your cruise, so make sure that you do this. Another thing is, if you've purchased a photo package or you want to make sure that you download any photos to your device, do not wait until disembarkation morning. We actually made that mistake on a past cruise. It was just on my phone and I thought it would still be there. But you know what? Once your account is closed, that is actually all wiped out. Have a pre-disembarkation evening routine. Now, this is where you could avoid some of those common mistakes that you have heard about. So one of them is make sure that you do all of your packing up, of course, by that night. But the thing that we like to do is actually put out our travel outfit, including undergarments, socks, and shoes. Make sure that you do have that ready and that you do not pack that up. Now, the other thing that you'll want to do is empty out your safe. Don't wait till the morning of where you might feel a little bit tired or maybe you overslept a few minutes and you might forget something like your keys in that safe. You don't want to do that. Elevators on disembarkation morning. Now, something that you're going to find, especially on bigger cruise ships, is that the elevators, of course, are going to get very crowded on disembarkation morning. But here are a couple of tips. One of them is, instead of using the main elevator that is going to be where your gangway is or where you're supposed to meet, that's going to be the one, usually the middle, that most people are going to use. Instead, try to go all the way back or all the way forward and use one of those elevators. Even during the cruise, we usually find that that actually is something that works. Now, the other thing is, and nobody's going to tell you this, but honestly, it does work. Take the elevator up instead of down. That does mean that you're going to have to stay on the elevator a couple more minutes. Some people are going to say that's not fair. I'm not really sure why, because you're still using the elevator and you do have a right to use the elevator. But yeah, get into the up elevator. It's going to take an extra couple of minutes, but this way at least you're going to be on. Now, super important, something to be aware of is by disembarkation morning, the cruise ship is going to feel very different than during the rest of the cruise, and a lot of things are going to be closed. Now, that includes the casino. So if you are a casino player, make sure that you are cashing out before that casino closes. Now, something that I've heard from some people is that they have been very disappointed, and I would even say upset, when the casino is closed that last evening of the cruise. And it does happen occasionally. If your itinerary, as an example, is in Alaska and you're in Victoria in the evening, a lot of people are surprised the casino is closed and you can no longer cash out. Now, by the way, if you're planning a cruise and you want to make sure that you are prepared for everything from embarkation to packing list to disembarkation day checklist, I do have the LifeWell Cruise Ultimate Cruise Planner. Now, the LifeWell Cruise Ultimate Cruise Planner is a 47-page downloadable printable planner, and one of the best things is the fact that you can print out only the pages that you want for as many cruises as you go on. Now, I will leave all of the information about the LifeWell Cruise Ultimate Cruise Planner down below in the description of this video, as well as a pinned comment, in case you do want to check that out. Okay, so self-disembarkation or traditional disembarkation. We have actually done both. Now, the benefit of doing the disembarkation where you're actually getting luggage tags from the cruise line and you're going to meet your luggage out in the terminal is you don't have to carry anything off the cruise ship. So honestly, most of the time, that is what we're going to do. But the times that we do have an early flight, this is really the only way to make sure that you get that luggage quickly and you can get as far away from that terminal as quickly as possible. And that is what we've done a few times. But then what we do is we make sure we are out of our cabin by around 7 a.m. Yes, it's early, but most of the time you can get off the cruise ship by about 7 a.m. The other thing that we do is we do try in general to pack as light as possible. The important thing is you have to actually be able to manage your luggage, whatever you bring with you. And sometimes we do have our checked luggage. But if somebody has to carry that down a flight of stairs, that might be what you need to do. If you are not able to do that, the crew are not able to help you with that. So that is something to keep in mind. And honestly, if the elevators are really too crowded, that is something you might have to deal with as well. Wheelchair assistance. Now, for anybody who needs assistance to get off the cruise ship, this is something that you can actually ask about at guest services. So even if you do not have your own wheelchair, but you do find it difficult to walk for long distances, there is assistance that is available. Do make sure to ask for this in advance. They are going to let you know. There's usually a meeting point where everybody's going to meet, and you are going to have crew assistance to help you off the ship. And sometimes this means that you can get off a little bit quicker. Now, in the cruise terminal, there are also a couple of things that you could do to avoid some of the chaos. Now, one of those things is to actually have a passport. So typically when you get to the cruise terminal, you're going to have to go through customs to be able to get off. Now, most of the time, if you have a passport, you actually do have that facial recognition now that makes things go much quicker. Otherwise, if you have a birth certificate only, and of course it doesn't apply to everyone, and that doesn't apply to every itinerary, but if you do have the option of birth certificate versus passport, using a passport most of the time will help you to get out of that terminal faster. Consider using a porter at the terminal. Now, I'll be honest, I have not used a porter in years at the terminal, but this is something that I do hear people share that it actually works, especially if you do have a long line to get out of the cruise terminal. What some people say is the porters seem to have an expedited way to get out, or sometimes they have a little bit of an in somehow, and they can actually get you through that terminal, outside of it, and sometimes even get your luggage onto the coach transfer before other people. Consider using a luggage direct service. Now, at some cruise terminals, you're going to have a service that is called Luggage Direct, or there are other similar services. Now, only certain cruise lines participate, only certain airlines participate, and only certain cruise ports participate. But Seattle is one of the ones that, if I'm not mistaken, this is even free. And in other cases, from what I understand, there might be a $25 charge, but it is worth looking into it. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Please let me know, did we miss anything? And I am going to leave the LifeWell Cruise Ultimate Cruise Planner down in the description below as well. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up, and please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.